Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you some of the most delicious summertime desserts that you will ever eat. We're going to make strawberry lemonade cookies, and then we're also going to make a frosty root beer float pie that is sure to please everyone. And then we're going to make a dreamy, velvety fruit salad. This is also pretty good for you at the same time, so you can't beat it. And then lastly, we're going to make a cool Mandarin orange cake. You keep this cake in the refrigerator on those hot summery days. You can pull this out and cool down with this delicious cake. Let's get baking. Here are the ingredients that you will need for this dreamy fruit velvet. First, we're going to start out with 2 small containers of blueberry yogurt. Next, we're going to add a small package of French vanilla instant jello pudding. Make sure you get the French vanilla, not just regular vanilla. This is a 3.4 ounce package. Then we're going to add an 8 ounce container of Cool Whip. Now give this a really good stir. Make sure that you get rid of any powder left from the pudding and also big chunks of whipped cream in there. Make sure you blend it really smooth and get a nice creamy texture. Then we're going to add 2 apples diced. It doesn't matter what kind of apples you use, just use your favorite. 1 16 ounce package of sliced strawberries and 2 cups of purple grapes. Mix this together really well. This is so delicious, and it not only is loaded with really yummy fruit, but it has yogurt in there, so it can't be that bad, right? You will be surprised at how delicious this is. It is dreamy. Here are the ingredients that you will need for the Frosty Root Beer pie. First, we're going to start out with root beer. It doesn't matter what brand or what kind, just any kind of root beer that you love. We are going to add 3/4 cup. Next, we're going to add a 1/2 cup of cream. Next, we're going to add root beer extract. We're going to add 2 tablespoons. This may seem like a lot, but when you freeze your pie, anytime you freeze it, it kind of takes that root beer taste away. So you have to add a little bit extra flavoring so that you can taste it once it's frozen. Go ahead and mix this all together. Next, you're going to add 1 small 3.4 ounce package of French vanilla instant pudding. When your pudding is mixed, you're going to let it sit for 5 minutes so that it can thicken. Then you're going to add a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar. Make sure you mix this in thoroughly. Next, you're going to add an 8-ounce container of Cool Whip. This will be easier to add if you've let it sit out for about an hour on your countertop. Then it will be easier to mix in. Now you're just going to mix this together. You want it to be really light and fluffy and creamy and delicious. Make sure that you get any little lumps of Cool Whip mixed in completely. If you need to use a whisk, you can do that, but it's really important to stir this thoroughly to make sure it's nice and creamy. Next, we're going to pour it into our graham cracker crust. Cover your pie and place in the freezer for at least 2 to 3 hours. When you're ready to serve this pie, you're going to top it with whipped cream. So go ahead and add 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And then you're going to add 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. And then add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now you're going to keep mixing this until we form peaks. So if you see, I've been mixing it for a while and it's still runny. So just keep mixing until you see those peaks form. I'll show you in a little bit. Okay, so they're starting to form. If you can see on the end of the beaters, you can see those stiff peaks. And then I'm going to show you in the bowl. See how it holds its shape? Once you pull those out, those are the peaks that we want to see. Okay, if any of you are fans of root beer float, this is just a different take on a root beer float. That's my son. Anyway, it's so delicious. This one is a frozen pie and you actually serve it frozen and then put your whipped cream on top right before serving. And it's so delicious. See how smooth and creamy? but it's cold and nice. Tastes just like a root beer float. I'm serious, if you love root beer floats, you've got to try this, and it's so easy. Here are the ingredients that you will need for the strawberry lemonade cookies. Okay, so you're going to start out with 2 separate bowls. We're going to make the lemon mixture and the strawberry mixture. So first, let's start out with our eggs. You'll have 4 eggs total, but we're going to divide them to make the 2 separate mixtures. So go ahead and add 2 eggs. Next, you're going to add 1/3 cup of oil. You can use canola oil, vegetable oil, olive oil, whatever you choose. Then you're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of lemon juice. Now go ahead and mix this together. Now you're going to add your lemon cake mix powder and stir this together really well. After you're done mixing it together, go ahead and take this mixture and put it in your refrigerator. Now you're going to do the exact same thing, but with the strawberry cake mix. After your dough has been refrigerated, go ahead and take out 2 plates, and you're going to get some powdered sugar and sprinkle the powdered sugar on the plates. You don't want to have a lot of powdered sugar, just enough that your dough isn't going to stick to the plates. Now you're going to take a small cookie scoop, or about a teaspoon of dough of each the lemon and the strawberry, and just start scooping it out onto your plates. Now we're going to line our cookie sheets with parchment paper. Have you guys ever used this pop-up parchment paper? You don't have to measure or anything. I love it. Okay, so you're going to roll the balls separately. So roll your lemon ball, roll your strawberry ball, and then you're going to combine them. Make sure that you roll them really tight so that it mixes those 2 flavors together, and you'll get that really pretty design on top of the cookies. Make sure that you work quickly because this dough can warm up in your hands and get really soft. Also, make sure that you're separating those balls of cookie dough on your pan as much as you can because the cookies will flatten quite a bit. Now you're going to sprinkle powdered sugar on the top of your cookies before cooking them. Oh my goodness, the smell in my kitchen right now, oh, it's delicious. So you just want to cook these cookies until they just have a tiny bit of golden brown edging. While the cookies are cooling, we're going to make our glaze for the top. So you're going to take 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, and then you're going to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Now you're going to add 1 tablespoon of water and whisk this together really well. You want to make sure that it's nice and smooth and drizzling consistency. Now you're just going to take a spoon and just start drizzling the top of these cookies. This frosting is so delicious. It just takes these cookies to the next level. You can eat them without the frosting on top, but I promise it is delicious. You have to use this frosting. Just try it. You will absolutely love it. And I like to take these cookies after they're completely done and the frosting has kind of hardened on the top of the cookies. I'll actually put these in an airtight container and keep them in my freezer, and on a nice hot summery day just take them out of the freezer and eat them right away. They are so good. Here are the ingredients that you will need for the cool Mandarin orange cake. The first thing we're going to add is 1 box of yellow cake mix. Next, you're going to add 3 eggs. Now add a 1/2 cup of oil. Now you're going to add an 11-ounce can of Mandarin oranges. You're going to add the juice and everything. Now mix this together really well. You want those Mandarin oranges to break apart into smaller pieces in this cake mix. Now we're going to separate this cake batter between 3 cake pans. Now we want to spray the bottom with cooking spray, or you can use a little bit of oil and rub it in the bottom of these pans. And then we're going to take wax paper and measure a circle for the bottom of the pans so that our cake mixture won't stick. So I like to flip over the cake pan and kind of trace the size, and then just go ahead and cut all 3 at once. And then go ahead and put this in the bottom of your pan. Make sure that it's greased really well. And then we're just going to separate the batter between the 3 pans. To make sure that your cake is cooked all the way through, insert a toothpick in the middle of your cake, and when you pull it out, it should be clean. It shouldn't have any dough left on there. Okay, let's go ahead and make our frosting. So we're going to take 2 8-ounce containers of Cool Whip. Make sure it's been sitting out on your countertop for about an hour to make it easier to mix. Next, add 1 16-ounce can of crushed pineapple. You're going to add the juice and the pineapple. Then you're going to add 1 box of French vanilla instant pudding. Okay, now we're going to start frosting our cake. So go ahead and take a knife and run it around the edges of your cake pan, and then dump it on a cake stand or a plate or whatever you wish. As you can see, that first layer didn't come out perfect, but it's okay because our frosting is kind of fluffy and bumpy, so you won't even be able to tell. So you'll do 1 layer, put some frosting in the middle, do another layer, put more frosting in the middle, and then we're going to do the top layer and just start piling all that whipped cream delicious frosting on top of the cake. The only thing about this cake is it is not the most pretty, perfect, smooth cake. It's just, a lot of whipped cream and pineapple piled on top of the cake layers. So it's not going to be the most perfect, but I'm telling you, it is delicious. Look at that, you guys. The only thing is this cake isn't like the most pretty cake you've ever seen, but it is so good. Like, you have to make it, it's so good. It's filled with like the orange flavor, but then the top is like a whipped cream, pineapple, just refreshing cake. And you keep this in the fridge. So anyway, when you've been outside all day and you're hot in the summer, you can come in, get a cool piece of cake, and just enjoy it. It is so moist and so delicious.